For this week's makeover, I chose a French provincial side table. It actually was in very good condition and didn't need a lot of repair work, aside from a few cracks. It had some sort of yellowy and brown paint wash over it that had seen better days. So I figured it was time for an update. Hello, my name is Lynn. Welcome to my channel New Renaissance. Join me in my passion, where I bring old furniture back to life. As always, I started with a good wash. I used some regular dish soap to give it that wash. After that, I went over it again with clear water, making sure all the soap residue was gone. You don't want any soap left on your piece when you are going to paint, since your paint won't adhere as good as you want to, and it might chip off over time. Then I focused on the cracks the table had on her legs. I filled up the cracks with some wood filler, let it dry, and sanded everything smooth. If my voice sounds a bit raspy and nasal, by the way, it's because I have tested positive for COVID yesterday. Yes, we are still 2022 and the COVID nightmare apparently still isn't over yet. I don't feel too bad, fortunately, just a severe cold, so no worries. After all the repair work was done, it was time to paint. I chose the color Emile from Annie Sloan for the base coat. For small pieces of furniture like this one, I like to paint the base coat while the piece is standing upside down. It might look a bit silly, but it really does help, so you don't forget any parts you might miss when it would stand up the right way. For the next coat, I will turn the table around again. If you're already subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. If you haven't, please do so. It really helps me to grow this channel and to keep posting videos like these. After I gave the tabletop a first coat of paint, I noticed I missed a few tiny little cracks. So I sanded off the paint, filled it with wood filler, let it dry, sanded it smooth and painted right over it again like nothing ever happened. That's what I like so much about painting furniture. When you make a mistake or you miss something, you can always correct it. The best advice I was given since I first started making over furniture in 2016 were these 4 words. It's just paint. When you make a mistake, you can remove it or you can paint over it. You can always correct your mistakes. It's just paint. I am applying a second coat of the color Emile. Since I am going to use the ragging technique afterwards, a second coat might not have been necessary, so you could skip this step. After 2 coats of Emile, I started with my next colors. I used a paint wash of the colors French Linen, Rodmell and Graphite. For the paint wash I used 50% water and 50% paint, so you get a watery consistency. I don't measure this, but just eyeball it. I check the consistency, and when I'm happy with it, I just go for it. For this table I am using the ragging technique. I first put on the paint wash on a few spots, quite randomly. The darker colors more on the edges and the lighter colors in the center. I water it down a bit more with my spray mister and then I tap it with a clean cloth. I never wipe with rag, but I always tap. This will give you a specific kind of blend that will look a bit cloudy. The difference with other types of blending is that you are not really mixing the colors. You are actually layering them on top of each other in a textured way. The ragging technique is definitely not a difficult way to blend colors, but it can take a lot of time. Mostly I am not satisfied after my first coat of ragging. What I usually do is let it dry and then go over it again with the same colors using the ragging technique again. This will give you even more depth, since you will always keep on layering the colors on top of each other. Here I started noticing that the paint wasn't adhering correctly. First I tried to ignore it and kept adding paint, but of course I should have known better. When paint doesn't adhere, adding more paint will not help. The only way to fix it is to use a primer. Therefore I decided to spray a little shellac-based primer on the parts where the paint didn't stick. I let it dry and after that I could paint right over it and it adhered perfectly. I took the table inside and removed the hardware. My original plan was that my table would be finished at this step, but I decided I wanted to add a transfer to the piece. Underneath the hardware, as you can see, I didn't paint, since I didn't know upfront that I was going to add a transfer. But that doesn't matter, because the transfer will cover that up. I used the transfer called Dreamy Florals from Redesign with Prima. I measured where the center of the piece was, so I could align the transfer perfectly. I see most furniture flippers just eyeball this, which is perfectly fine too. But in the past I have added a transfer that ended up being a little off-centered. My client probably never noticed it, but it really annoyed me. So since that day I'm just a little bit more precise when it comes to applying a transfer. Once I had marked down where I wanted to apply the transfer, I removed the backing paper. Then I put the transfer with the sticky side down on my little table. With the stick that comes with the transfer, I rubbed off the design onto my piece. As I am rubbing with the stick on the design, the picture will start to transfer to the table. I gently pull back the backing paper in small parts to see if the design was transferred correctly. If it is, I can pull back the backing paper a bit further. If not, I just have to rub a bit more. Once the transfer was on, I cut the edges of the drawer with an X-Acto knife. I still thought there was something missing, so I added a few extra flowers. I cut them from the same design and added them to the left and the right of the drawer. To finish off the beautiful design, I added a butterfly. I put the hardware back on and applied a little bit of gilding wax to it. To blend the floral design in a bit better, I dry brushed some of the color Rodmell on the edges of the transfer. It's just a little detail, but I do think this just gives the piece the perfect finish it was looking for. Off camera, I protected the piece with some clear and black wax. And we are done. Here is just a quick reminder of how this piece used to look like. And here is how it looks now. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. I hope to see you again soon. Bye!